All right, guys, this is Act 2, Scene 1. This is Brutus's soliloquy. If you remember, a soliloquy is where an actor is basically talking to themselves. So what's the point of that? Is he crazy? No. It's to let the audience know what's going on in the character's mind, right? So in this part, Cassius has laid the framework. He's planted the seed in the previous speech. He also, on the time in between these speeches, is like throwing rocks through Brutus's window with all these notes attached to it that make it look like there are a whole bunch of people that think he should do away with Caesar. He's leaving notes for him on his seat at the Senate, so that it looks like there are a bunch of different people with the same game plan and same opinion, so that Brutus will be more easily led. If we're finding out anything about Brutus right now, it is that he's kind of naive and foolish, and he's easily swayed by what other people are telling him, okay? So in the soliloquy, we get to see Brutus basically trying to talk himself through this and make a decision, okay? This reminds me of when we're getting ready to do something that we know technically is wrong, but we justify it to ourselves. I hope I'm not the only person that's ever done this, but think about it. Has there ever been a time when you were getting ready to do something you know was probably foolish, but you could kind of make a decent case and be like, well, if I did this, then this would happen. And you can kind of almost make it seem like it's okay. That's what's happening with Brutus here. So in the soliloquy, he says, it must be by his death. And for my part, I know no personal cause to spurn at him, but for the general. He would be crowned. How that might change his nature, there's the question. He's like, well, for my part, I don't really see a reason that I should feel threatened by Caesar, but, what if he was crowned king? Then he might change, and then we'd be in trouble. Then he uses a little illustration here. An adder, if you don't know, is a snake. And so it says, it is the bright day that brings forth the adder, right? Snakes are out in the summertime. So it's when everything's bright and sunny and cheerful that the snakes are out. And that craves wary walking. So that's when you need to be careful when you're out walking in the woods, right? When it's sunny and warm, because the snakes are out. Crown him that, and then I grant we put a sting in him, that at his will he may do danger with. If we give him a crown, then he becomes dangerous, like a snake. Now, this snake metaphor is going to appear later in the speech, okay? So there's an image that he's working with in his mind of Caesar being this dangerous, poisonous snake, right? The abuse of greatness is when it disjoins remorse from power. And to speak truth of Caesar, I have not known when his affections swayed more than his reason. Okay, he's going back and forth. This is an internal struggle here. I don't know any reason to, but what if? But yeah, I don't know. He doesn't really give me any reason to think that. But, fourth stanza, look at this. But, 'tis a common proof that lowliness is young ambition's ladder, whereto the climber upward turns his face. But when he once attains the utmost round, he then unto the ladder turns his back, looks in the clouds, scorning the base degrees by which he did ascend. So Caesar may. In other words, when people climb the ladder, and especially on the shoulders of people below them, when they get to the top, a lot of times they forget about all those people that helped them get there, right? So he's kind of thinking that that's maybe what's going to happen with Caesar. He's going to get to the top. They're going to crown him king. And then he's going to be like, forget you guys. See ya. I don't care anything about you anymore. And he's like, I see bad things that could possibly happen from this. Then, lest he may prevent, and since the quarrel will bear no color for the thing is, fashion it thus, that what he is augmented, like made bigger. So if you augment something, you're increasing it, right? Like, so if you give him this power and then you increase it, it might run to the extreme, right? And therefore, now here's the clincher and here's where he makes the decision. Therefore, think him as a serpent's egg, which hatched would as his kind grow mischievous and kill him in the shell. So in other words, if you came across a nest of snake eggs, let's say they're poisonous snakes, most people would kill the eggs, right? Don't give them a chance to hatch. That's pretty much how he convinces himself to kill Caesar. He's like, well, he's not a poisonous snake yet, but he's gonna be. Bet you money he's gonna be. So we'll go ahead and kill him in the shell before he ever hatches, right? So it's a metaphor that's extended throughout the speech. And it's a pretty good one because it gives him the justification he needs to go along with this assassination plot. All right, so hopefully that helps you kind of see what's going on. You're going to do the same thing with this writing prompt. It's looking at how does Brutus convince himself. Now, don't fall into the trap of saying he's trying to convince people. He's not. This is a soliloquy, right? He's not saying this to anybody but to himself. He's trying to convince himself to do this thing, to kill his best friend, okay? But it's for the good of Rome. And that is a key to understanding what motivates Brutus, okay? So if you've got questions about this, show up at the Google Meet, let me know, and we'll talk through it, okay? Bye.